Good morning, class 12. This is Sana Uzma from the Millennium School. Children, in the last class, I began with the topic commercial cells or batteries, and in which I covered the types of primary cells like dry cells and mercury cells. I discussed with you the construction of dry cell, the working of dry cell, and mercury cell also, and also I discussed with you the reaction occurring at anode and cathode, which I told you is important also to remember under this category. And now today's session will include types of secondary cells. I hope you all remember the basic difference between the primary and the secondary cell. Primary cells are non-rechargeable cells, whereas the secondary cells are rechargeable in nature. So this much we discussed in the last session. And with today's session, our chapter electrochemistry will be over. Now here comes your responsibility to compile all your notes and show it to the teacher, and also practice as many numericals as possible from NCERT, from any reference book that you have, in order to get thorough with the chapter. So here are the secondary cells, which you know that they are rechargeable in nature. They can be used again and again. And the one important point to note here is they are also referred to as storage cells and accumulators. With this, I begin with the first type of secondary cell, that is the lead storage cell. Here you can see is the picture of the lead storage cell, and I hope by looking at this picture you can easily recall where you must have seen this battery. Can you recall, children? If you cannot, let me remind you that this battery is the same battery which are used in automobile engines, which are used in inverters. So now I hope that you can very easily resemble this diagram with the batteries which you have seen at your home. So let us see that what are the components of this battery. As an electrolyte, we have dilute H2SO4 in this lead storage cell, and we have lead both as anode and cathode present in the lead storage cell. Now let us see how, in what form lead is present in the form of anode and cathode. So before that, let us see what is mentioned here. Each battery consists of a number of voltaic cell. Don't get confused with this term voltaic. It is nothing else but galvanic cell. And the cells are connected in series. 3 to 6 such cells are generally combined to get a voltage of 6 to 12 volt battery. And what is anode here? Anode is a grid of lead packed with finely divided spongy lead, and the cathode is a grid of lead packed with PbO2. So here you can see that both anode and cathode is made up of lead in some or the other form, and the electrolyte is made up of sulfuric acid. So what happens at anode and cathode? What are the reactions that occur at anode and cathode? Anode leads to the oxidation of lead, and cathode will lead to the reduction of lead. So let us come to the reactions. What happens at anode? Pb is getting converted into Pb2 plus by losing 2 electrons. This is the reaction that occurs at anode. Okay. And this Pb2 plus combines with sulfate to form PbSO4. So what will be the net cell reaction occurring at anode? It will be equal to the sum of the equation 1 and equation 2, and these two will get cancelled off. So this will be the net cell reaction occurring at anode, children. This is very important reaction. And lead storage cell itself is a very important cell type. It has been asked a number of times in your board examination. So please do remember the reactions occurring at anode and cathode. So what happens at cathode? At cathode you can see that PbO2 is getting converted into Pb2 plus. The oxidation state of Pb in PbO2 will be plus 4. Why? Because X minus 4, the charge over one oxygen atom is minus 2, so obviously for 2 it will be minus 4, and this whole is equal to 0, so the charge over lead is plus 4. So lead is present in the form of plus 4 oxidation state in the reactant side, and at the product side you can see that it is present in the form of Pb2 plus. and since there is decrease in the positive charge, which indicates that reduction has occurred. Now this Pb2 plus or PbO2 will combine with sulfate again to form PbSO4. So you can see that both at anode and cathode we are getting PbSO4. And the overall cathode reaction is mentioned here. Now please children, don't worry about these reactions. If you cannot remember these reactions, you can simply remember this reaction which occurs, this is the overall reaction which occurs at cathode. So during the working of the cell, PbSO4 is formed at each electrode and sulfuric acid is being used up. So obviously the density of sulfuric acid will reduce after some time. Since it is a rechargeable cell, when you connect it to some power supply, it will again reverse the reaction, which will lead to maintenance of the density of sulfuric acid. So here is the process and the reaction mentioned which is responsible for recharging of a lead storage battery. You can go through this page and it is easily understandable. Now moving on to the next type of battery, that is nickel cadmium storage cell. Nickel cadmium storage cell is a portable battery. It is a secondary battery which is portable. Now again, when I say portable term, you can very easily think of a battery which is portable and rechargeable. Can you recall, children? Yes, you are right. It is the battery used in your mobile phones. So here are the components mentioned which are present inside a lead nickel cadmium battery. This is also a rechargeable cell. It has longer life than the lead storage cell but more expensive than lead storage battery. However, it has some advantage because it is smaller and lighter. It can be used in portable and cordless appliances. It consists of a cadmium anode. The anode is made up of cadmium and a metal grid containing NiO2 acting as cathode. The electrolyte here in the cell is KOH. The reaction takes place during the discharge and charge are present on the next slide. You can see here. Though children, this cell I have not found that it has been asked a number of times, but since it is a part of your syllabus, you need to remember the reactions because you might get this here. So here are the reactions which you need to learn, as I told you in my last session also. Reactions anyhow you need to remember. The reaction products generally remain sticking to the electrodes and can be reconverted by recharging the cell. The charging process similar to the lead storage battery and the potential which is supplied by this cell is 1.4 volt. So this is all about nickel cadmium battery. Now moving on to another very important type of secondary cell, that is fuel cell. So this fuel cell reminds me of a movie from 90s, if you know, a movie named Chain Reaction. It is a Hollywood movie, and that movie was on the working of fuel cells only. If you have not seen that movie, children, I would suggest you to watch that movie. You'll have a better idea of working of a fuel cells. Though there are other series also which have included or which have worked upon the working of a fuel cell. So fuel cell basically this is again a rechargeable cell, and it is a source of high supply of energy. The supply of energy via fuel cell is tremendous, and in this the reactants that can be used are hydrogen, carbon monoxide and methane, etc. And here a question comes in my mind which was asked in your board examination, that apart from hydrogen, what are the other reactants that can be used in our fuel cells? So answer is mentioned in front of you. The answer is carbon monoxide or methane. Now what is the first point mentioned here? In this cell, hydrogen and oxygen are bubbled through a porous carbon electrode. Porous means having holes. into concentrated aqueous sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide solution, which acts as electrolyte here. Hydrogen, the fuel, is fed into the anode compartment where it gets oxidized, and oxygen is fed into cathode compartment where it gets reduced. So the reactions occurring at anode and cathode is mentioned here, and here is the overall cell reaction where you can see that hydrogen is combining with oxygen to produce water. So this is the reactions occurring at anode and cathode in case of a fuel cell. So here is the diagram which depicts the working of a fuel cell. You can see here that we have perforated electrodes present here, though the pores are not shown in the diagram, but it is perforated in nature, that is, it has pores present in it. And at the anode side, you can see that supply of hydrogen is taking place, and at the cathode side, you can see supply of oxygen is taking place. And through the porous electrodes, the two moves to the electrolytic solution present here. This electrolyte prevents the direct combination of hydrogen oxygen, otherwise which may lead to combustion. So to slower down or to lower down the pace of the reaction, we have aqueous solution of KOH or NaOH present in between, and as a result we get H2O and heat as the product. So I hope the diagram is clear to you. Here is some more information about the fuel cell. Each electrode is made up of compressed carbon containing a small amount of catalyst like platinum, silver or cobalt oxide. These fuel cells are more efficient than conventionally used methods of generating electricity. Large scale by burning hydrogen, carbon fuels, because these fuel cells convert the energy of the fuel directly into electricity. So as I told you, these are the tremendous source of energy which can be directly converted into electricity. Now moving on to the last slide of today's session. What are the advantages of fuel cells over ordinary batteries? So the first advantage is its high efficiency rate. It is very efficient battery, as you can see here, and then it is a continuous source of energy without any stoppage, and it is pollution free. Why? Because the product formed is water and heat. So water is an eco-friendly byproduct, and heat is obviously converted into electricity as a source of energy. So with this, I finish with the chapter electrochemistry. The last topic that I took up was battery or commercial cells, and it is more of theoretical type where you can go through these slides, you can maintain your notes properly on these topics, and then you can practice the reactions occurring at anode and cathode, which I told you is the most important part of this topic. And then in case of secondary cell that I took up in today's session, please do this lead storage cell or battery properly, and the fuel cell. A question we got in 2020 based on fuel cell only. If you have seen the board paper, you can go through the question. So children, now please complete your notes and show it to the teacher. Practice the questions and ask your doubts, and we will be beginning with the next chapter very soon. Thank you children. Have a nice day.